Hey everybody, Andy Waddell with Form Films. Welcome to Grade in 10. Today we are grading a fun interview shot. And I mean, it is moody, zesty, vibey. It's got some Kubrick in it. I think you're going to really dig it. Let's dive in. All right, here we go. What did I tell you? What a cool shot, huh? So this is a Blackmagic Pocket 6K. We are shooting the director of drama at a private school, and she is standing symmetrically framed in the room, which is symmetrically framed in this beautiful chapel with all these browns and lights and shapes and shadows. It's just a gorgeous shot. So this is going to be a lot of fun, and let's get her going. So to start with, if we're going to make this drama teacher look all dramatical with all this dramatical framing and lighting, we got to denoise it first. Got a bit of digital duck. So we're going to come in here, put it to better quality, and crank this up to about 25 to clean it up. Do just a touch of spatial. Okay, I am going to go a little different route here. Normally I like to work in DaVinci YRGB wide gamut, and I don't use the LUT. It brings it to Rec 709 for me with the proper science for all the color sensory stuff. In this case, I'm going to just start with the Blackmagic LUT. And the reason I'm doing that is because this project had previous sequences that have all been graded, so I don't want to change the color science and screw those up. So we're just going to do this today to get us started. Call that LUT. Again, I don't typically work that way. I don't usually use LUTs to color, but in this case, if it works, it works. Let's call this primaries. I'm going to do a very subtle primary adjustment, mainly because she's a little paler than this background, but I'm going to pull this whole image just a touch cooler and then warm it up later because I want to kind of isolate her skin tone even a little bit more. So I'm going to kick on the offset. I'm just going to roll this way. Did you see what that did? Just that little touch. It just isolated her. It popped her out a little bit. Off, on, off, on. Just pops her away. Puts a little bit of almost a blue haze over this background, which we're going to play with later. But that's a very, very quick, tiny adjustment that makes a big deal. All right, I'm going to call this adjustments. What I want to do is I'm looking at my waves here and my waveforms here. I'm going to pull just ever so slightly a touch of green out of this. Okay. And I'm going to play with this just a little bit. Here we go. There it is. Just super subtle. Green, a little bit of green in this, and now it just pulls it out. I'm a curves guy with an audio background. To me, curves is like visual EQ. EQ for your eyeballs, and I love to go back and forth between wheels and curves. I don't see a lot of color guys doing that as much as I do, but I'm kind of a fan. I'm like a huge fan of curves. Okay, adjustments. Let's do I lost my train of thought. What am I going to do next? I know. Contrast, sat. Thank you. Okay, see what happens when I start with a LUT. It throws off all of my processes. Okay, I'm going to play with curves again, and we're really close to the black level there, but I'm going to play with curves again and just bring some of that low shadow down a little more, and then just pop my highlights just a touch more. I want to watch her cheek. I don't want her cheek to blow out. If I blow it out like that, ugh. But just a touch. Okay, and then on the same note, I'm just going to go ahead and bump sat up. Ooh, that's way too high. Okay, 60... 65, let's go 62 and a half. I like that her lips match these red felt seats on the pews, so kind of want to lean into that. Okay, I'm going to make parallel nodes here, and what I'm going to do is grab her skin and her shirt, and we're going to break them apart, and then that will further isolate her from the background. So skin going to my trusty qualifier 3D. So this is going to be a crapshoot. I'm going to have to grab it a few times, and I'm going to basically aim to get everything that's lit by the key light with as little of the brown from the pews. And it's just going to be a little messy, but in the end, it'll all pan out. So I'm not going to worry about what's happening in these shadows. I'm going to let these stay lit kind of by the environment. But it's just this key light lit skin that I want to make sure I compress the hue and the sat and just really, really dial in. But again, it's just going to take me a couple of swipes to get kind of the, see what I did there? Although, let me see if I can, that's actually better than expected. Okay, let's roll with this. Heck. Okay, put a little bit there. This is the part where I just futz around until I'm happy with the settings. Okay, let's leave it there for a second. Let's grab our color compressor. We're going to drop it on, and I'm going to grab part of her skin that I think looks like what I want all of her skin to kind of look like. The trick here is just because the key light was a little cooler than the ambient, and so what I'm struggling with is, one thing I'm struggling with is the edge. This edge is like a little wonky. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, so one of the challenges here is that there is clearly a kind of a lack of the good skin tone in her tone, just because of the way the lights are blending on her. So I'm going to use the color compressor, and I'm going to push the hue, and I'm going to push the saturation pretty far. I have a feeling I'm going to need to pull this over artificially to like just a warmer tone. It feels like I want it to feel kind of making up her skin tone. Okay, I'm going to disable that. Let's flip to vector scope, and let's actually solo it again. Okay, we are right in line with the skin tone. I'm going to use offset and just push it up a little bit, pull it to the right just a touch, and then I might even just put 55 on sat. It's going to be too much sat, but I want to play with it a second. Okay. Dial it back to about 52.5. Okay, now I'm going to toggle that off and back on. Wow. Okay, now we are getting a lot of skin, bleed over here if I solo it up. So what I'm going to do is throw a mask. I'm not going to track her face. I'm not going to get super crazy fancy. I'm just going to, can't do a grade in 10 if you do that kind of stuff. So what I want to do is get this just really close to solid. I don't believe she talks a lot with her hands, so I think I'm going to keep it kind of right in here. And even with this stuff happening here, I'm not too worried about it. Because we're going to draw our eye to her more and more in the next couple of nodes. So let's jump to shirt. Let's rock and roll this shirt with a little bit of the 3D grabber. We're going to have some shared shadows in the shot. We'll just do our best to mask them. This stuff up here is more brown than her shirt, but it's still kind of qualified with the qualifier. So let's see what we can do to isolate. Yeah, it's like a trial and error. Okay, I am also going to mask this because I don't need anything above her neckline. So I'm going to be able to cut out most, if not all of that nonsense on the balcony like that. Okay, I'm going to solo that off. Let's jump back here. So first of all, this is a black shirt. I'm just going to make sure that it's not picking up tones from the reflections in the light. I'm going to desat it just by dropping that to 15%. You can see if I go all the way up, it almost turns blue. I'm going to drop it to 15 and just darken it out. Then I'm going to take curves, and I'm also just going to crush it down a little more. I don't want to lose the detail. I just want to make it a little darker. Okay, now jumping back to skin, I've got it isolated, and I'm just going to grab it right here and just bring it up just a touch. I could bring it up a lot, make her glow. I just want to bring it up ever so much. Somewhere like that. Looking at skin tone, we're still in a very healthy position. We could probably be a touch more saturated. I just don't want to go overboard. But we'll see what we get. Okay. If I solo her shirt and skin and toggle off and on, you can see a real difference. Off, bleh, on. Oh. This is still bugging me though. This right here, I really want to get rid of. That. Wonder if I can do that. Let's try real quick. Zoink. No, that kind of killed most of her face. That's pretty good. No, I had like a splotch right there. All right. But right now, again, you could track it. You could really get into dialing in some very detailed masks. I can't remember how broad her motions are here. I just want to keep it. I want to keep this as a broad brush, solid grade, representative of where you want to go, but something you can still get to your client pretty quick, and they go, yeah, this looks great, and then you can go back and dial it in even further when they aren't sitting over your shoulder. Okay, I'm going to come to the end and work my way back for a sec. I'm going to do my sharpening. I'm just going to dial it down to about 0.47. Skadoosh. There goes my calendar alarm. Okay, I'm going to put a vignette right in front of that. And we're going to use the built-in vignette plugin. And what I want to do is not that. What I want to do is go to advanced, and I'm going to broaden this thing out and make it a little rounder. And what I'm aiming for is to really kind of kill or draw your eye along this line inward. And then, yeah, if we touch the floor a little, that's great. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not trying to get the floor necessarily. I just want to get, the corners of the roof. And I'm going to bring this down a little bit so that we don't kill these lights in the center. I like these up here. I want to just kind of follow the arc of this. So that's feeling pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to soften it up. Play with this until it feels about right. Oops. Okay, now I'm going to global blend this guy. I'm just going to bring it back to the zilch and then roll it up slowly. Oh, that just tightens up those rafters a lot. Pushes my eye toward her really nicely, but doesn't feel artificial. Just feels like the lights are off over here. Okay, let's leave it there for now. Okay, I'm going to come back one more node in front of this, and I want to add a little glow on these lights. So I'm going to use aperture diffraction. Way too much. All right, so we're going to, don't want them white. I want to have just a touch of color in it. Pull this back till it's just a little bit warmer. Okay, now push curvature all the way up. I'm going to bring the aperture size. Oh, I just lost it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to bring the aperture size all the way up. And then I'm going to global blend this sucker. Sorry, I need to bring the colorization back just a little bit. There we go. I also don't want it hitting her cheek like that, so I'm going to dial this in very gently. All it's going to do is give me a little love right there. So if I toggle on and off, here's off. It's a little dead back here. Put it on, it's up and alive. But I mean, it's like subtle. Boom, 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 boom. It also gives like just a little kiss on her cheek, which I don't mind as long as it's not, you know, blowing it out, right? So let's just play with this right there. I like that. Okay. My vignette, I'm going to blend back in a little more. Okay, there we go. Now, I want to put a little bit of film on this after the sharpen, actually. I'm going to put some grain. I'm going to use the film grain plugin. I'm going to go with some 35, 400T. I'm going to go about 0.4. I just want to put enough. Enough to grain it up, make it feel just a little bit raw. Okay. All right. I think. Oh, one more thing. Almost forgot. In front of my vignette, I'm going to add. Let's pull these down here. Lab. Final step. Here we go. Color space. I'm going to put this into Lab CIE. And I'm going to simply experiment with rolling my shadows down just a little bit and see what kind of magic sauce it creates. Go too far. It's blue. Bring it back. Oh, I like that. Okay. Off, on. So what that does is it just really tightens up that low end. I say low end. That's my audio mind talking. It tightens up the shadows and just helps pull out any remaining. I'm just going to put it about -6. Okay, so it's just going to take out a little bit of that red glow. Even that's probably too much. Let's go like -3. Boom. Oh, that's nice. Tightens it up. If I was going to spend some more time on this, I think I probably would go back on her skin and try to put just a touch more light in the shadows. But you almost need a little bounce right here. But I think this is looking pretty good. I love the way the hairs right here on the back of her hair are just like popping the light. So, all right, let's look at it from scratch. So we'll leave denoising on. Obviously it was a little bit messy. Now it's clean. We lutted, and now we went from lut to skadoosh that in a matter of a dozen nodes or so, not counting. Really happy with that. I feel like she's going to pop. It's going to feel like she's being all dramatical as the leader of the drama for the school. Look at this gorgeous lighting all around it. It's great. So dramatical. That is it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you appreciate the Kubrick symmetry of that shot as much as I do. A lot of fun. Sometimes interviews can be kind of bland, and in this case, it's just nice to have something that's really artsy and fun. So, anyway, thank you. Give us a follow. Turn the knobs, press the buttons, the bells, flip the switches on all the socials and the YouTubes, and we'll see you next time for the next grade.